Hello and welcome to our unique YouTube channel, The Ministry of the Real Truth. Today in our personal scripture study, Bible study and research, this may be common to or knowledge to everybody else, to yourself and everybody else, but we believe we just realised it or realised it because we may have come across it before or even did a video on it. We can't recollect at the moment if we actually had done a video and uploaded it on this particular subject. So we were reading on the creatures created in the book of Genesis and other parts of the Bible, and also we came across many people who said, oh, it's this, it's that, and so forth, which we felt a lot of it was incorrect. So we looked at the original ancient, very old Brita, or Bereshit in Hebrew, the Aramaic Brita, the Lishana Artika of the Tav Esher, or Eshery, or the Aramaic, to find out more on these supposed mythical beasties. And we came across this channel, themythology.net, and writing on Leviathan. Here's an illustration of a Leviathan, what it actually is, supposedly mythically. Doesn't that look a bit like Yoda? And it states here, an uneasy feeling arises in your stomach as you watch the waters begin to churn from the bow of the ship. You embarked on your journey through the Mediterranean with an uneasy feeling, and the events taking place before your eyes only serve to make you feel more uncomfortable. You watch as two beams of glowing light pierce the surface of the water. As the sea begins to boil, a feeling of defeat settles in your heart. Already you can see the armoured scales rising from the depths. Leviathan is upon you. These moments are to be your last. What is the Leviathan? The tale of Leviathan has been a source of curiosity among many Christians and non-believers alike since the inception of the creature was expressed in the pages of the Bible. Leviathan is known to be a fearsome primordial being that ruled over all other creatures of the sea. There are varying descriptions of the origins and intent of the creature in history, though most would agree that Leviathan is dangerous and capable of terrifying destruction. There it is. There, an artist's impression. The Leviathan is known to be an enormous sea monster that was one of Yahweh's, the Christian God, original creatures. There were several other creatures of equal power that were created, but the Leviathan was known to be the most dangerous of them all. There are many different theories as to what inspired the tales of Leviathan, but most are centered around the demonstrating the almighty power of Yahweh. It is also possible that Leviathan was adapted into Christian religion as a way of making it easier for people from other cultures to convert to Christianity. This is a popular theory because of ancient myths and legends from cultures that predate Christianity, such as the Sumerians, the Akkadians, the Babylonians, and so forth. Christianity and tell of a mighty sea serpent that is overcome by a benevolent protective deity. This also causes some to wonder if the tale was inspired by a real creature that was interpreted differently in various religions and culture. Perhaps that's where Godzilla stemmed from, maybe? Who knows? Leviathan is created. It is thought that Leviathan was created as one of the first creatures and was one of the three primordial beings that could hold a great power on the earth. Behemoth, a bull-like creature, was given dominance over the land. Ziz, a dragon-like creature, was given reign over the skies. Lastly, Leviathan was given rule over all the seas, though the Mediterranean was to be his home. The mighty Leviathan was thought to be the most powerful of these three creatures. This is possible because of the dangers that are associated with the sea, and possibly because the Leviathan was known to be destructive, while Behemoth and Ziz were peaceful creatures. In the beginning, there were supposedly two Leviathans. a male and female. They were made to keep each other company in the seas. As time went on, however, it became clear that both creatures could not be allowed to survive. This was supposedly because the Leviathan would take over and possibly devour or eat up the world if they were able to create offspring. Alternative versions also state that it was only necessary to kill one of the Leviathan creatures, Leviathan, because it had been corrupted by an evil entity, causing it to lose its gentle nature and become a creature of great destructive power. Yahweh kills the female Leviathan. To preserve the lives of his other creations, Yahweh descended to the earth to destroy the female Leviathan. There was a great struggle between Yahweh and the female Leviathan because of her great strength. However, because Yahweh was all powerful, he was eventually able to kill the female and save the rest of his creations from destruction. The male Leviathan is bitter because of the loss of his companion and awaits the end times when he will battle with Yahweh. This looks like an Indian version of it, or depiction. Yahweh kills the female Leviathan. After killing the female Leviathan, Yahweh used the skin from her corpse to create a beautiful canopy. It is known that the Leviathan has one of the most beautiful skins of all Yahweh's creatures, making this canopy especially exquisite. Under the canopy, a feast made of the flesh from the beast lays on a table. It is said that when the righteous are taken to paradise in the rapture, they will sit down with Yahweh under this canopy and feast upon the flesh of both Leviathans and of Behemoth. Yahweh also used the remaining skin of the Leviathan female and used it to make garments of light for Adam and Eve. Although they had disobeyed the will of Yahweh from eating the forbidden fruit, Yahweh helped to ensure their protection on earth by giving them these special clothes. The threat posed by Leviathan. Many creation tales that reference the Leviathan say that Yahweh made the creature along with seas and Behemoth as a way of demonstrating his mighty power. By creating the most powerful creatures on land, in the seas and in the skies, Yahweh showed his great power, which helped to humble the rest of his creations. The Leviathan, however, posed a special sort of problem for many early peoples. It was the only one of these three creatures that was known to have a destructive nature and was largely regarded as an evil being. In addition to being extremely dangerous, the Leviathan was known to be impossible for man alone to defeat. Legend tells us that the Leviathan was at least 300 miles in length. The exact size of the creature was unknown because the size of the Leviathan was too big to be comprehended by man. This mighty sea creature was known to have a hot temper that was fed by oil and armoured scales that made it impossible to kill the beast. In fact, the scales of the Leviathan are said to be one of the most impressive qualities of the creature. Many creation myths claim that the Leviathan had a double layer of armoured scales that protected its flesh. These scales were layered so closely together that not even air could get through. Though these details tell us that the beast was mighty, it does not give much insight into what type of animal the Leviathan might mimic. Many theorize that the beast is likely a large serpent or dragon. Others believe that the Leviathan could be a large whale. Curiously, the Leviathan has more than just fearsome characteristics. It is also known for its strange beauty. The mighty sea beast is also known to have qualities that are fluorescent in nature. Its eyes are said to have a dim sort of light that is sought to intensify if the head of the Leviathan breaks the surface of the ocean. Its skin also has a beautiful glow, especially its flippers, which are known to have what appears to be halos floating above them. Special abilities. Perhaps most terrifying about the Leviathan is that this creature is not necessarily evil but does enjoy chaos, especially among Yahweh's chosen creatures. The Leviathan was a creature that was terrifying to all because of its many abilities. It was known that the Leviathan could breathe fire. When the heat of the creature broke the surface of the waters, flames were said to shoot out from its mouth and nostrils. Flames also shot out from its eyes when above the surface. The monster's heat abilities are not limited with this, however. The Leviathan was known to be able to make the water around itself boil. This allowed it to kill its prey and generally terrorize humans. Additionally, the beast was known to have extremely foul breath. Its odour was essentially poison. Any person or creature that encountered the breath of the monster would die. There are passages in ancient texts that suggest the Leviathan would kill every living thing in paradise if allowed it, just from the smell of its breath. Possible connections to earlier mythology. Although many Christian scholars would maintain that the tale of Leviathan is true and that it was original to their religion, there are several earlier stories from other cultures that make this questionable. Because of the overlap between the following tales, many have come to one of two conclusions. The first conclusion is that Christians use the tale of sea serpents being overcome by an all-powerful deity to help people from other cultures have an easier time converting to Christianity. This is a likely conclusion because there are many similarities between the stories. Additionally, Christianity is known to have used this technique before to convert non-believers. The second conclusion is that there was a sea creature that lived during the time of these ancient cultures that inspired these tales. While some theorize that the Leviathan was inspired by a creature that no longer exists on this earth, others believe that the monster may be an exaggeration of creatures that can be found in modern day. Hadad, Baal versus Lotan. Hadad, also known as Baal, was a storm god that served as a protector to society, similar to the way Zeus and Marduk were known to protect their people. Because the storm god was able to protect the people and the earth by sending them rains to grow their crops, he was associated with being a benevolent deity. And there's the Baal Hadad fighting Lotan. Looks like it's got many heads. The serpent god, however, was seen in the opposite manner. A seven-headed dragon creature named Lotan was known to lurk in the depths of the ocean and was seen as a threat to creation. However, because Hadad is known to have great powers, he is able to defeat the mighty Lotan. After he defeats his enemy, it is said that he used the body of the creature to create the world that the humans now live on. Similar themes can be found in other versions of the struggle against Leviathan in many cultures. Marduk versus Tiamat. The story of Tiamat's fight with Marduk is an ancient story that was passed down from Babylonian mythology. The story tells of Tiamat, a powerful entity, one of the first created, who took her form as a fiery dragon monster. Alternate versions of the story claim that she was also the watery chaos of the universe. Both versions have notable connections to the description of Leviathan. Tiamat was known to sabotage the work of young gods who attempted to make life. There were many attempts to create life that was separate from the gods, but Tiamat destroyed all these new worlds. Finally, Marduk, a young god, was able to defeat the evil Tiamat in a terrible battle. When the battle was finished, he used her corpse to create the heavens and the earth. Zeus versus Typhon. Greek mythology also makes mention of the all-powerful Zeus, deity Zeus, and his encounter with a terrible serpent beast named Typhon. In this version of the story, Typhon is created by Gaia, Mother Earth, where she unites with Tartarus, the underworld, to create a monster that was fearsome enough to kill Zeus and take his place. Typhon was a terrible serpent creature that was known to have incredible powers. The beast was known to have a terrible appearance that struck fear in the hearts of anyone, mortal or otherwise, who saw him. Like Leviathan, Typhon was said to be able to spit streams of fire from his mouth. Typhon and Zeus struggle in a mighty battle, but the serpent beast is eventually overcome when Zeus throws a giant mountain on top of the beast, trapping him underneath the earth. Thor versus Jormungandr, it goes on about that in Norse mythology. The Leviathan in different religions. Leviathan in Christianity. In Christianity, the Leviathan is known to be a mighty beast that was created by Yahweh to show his great power over all living things. However, this was not always the case. It appears that early Christianity may have referenced the Leviathan as an evil entity, almost equivalent to God. This powerful entity could only be conquered by the mighty Yahweh. From this point, Leviathan eventually became a demon beast that could only be conquered by Yahweh. Finally, Leviathan is recognized as a ferocious beast. While this beast was terrifying, it was not as powerful as an entity or demon would be, and was easily tamed and defeated by Yahweh. It is partially because of the changes in the Leviathan narrative that many people believe Leviathan was adapted from other religions or cultural mythology. It is thought that Leviathan would have remained the same throughout the Christian storytelling tradition if it was a legend that originated with their religion. However, Leviathan has also adopted other meanings through the Christian religion. It is thought that the creature may also be one of the 7 deadly sins. Those who follow this interpretation believe that Leviathan is the demon of envy. There are also those who go a step further and claim that Leviathan is an alternative image for Satan himself. Leviathan in Judaism. Judaism offers more insight into the Leviathan and where it originated. There are a few conflicting tales, which may be due to differences in translation that speak on the Leviathan. One of the first references to the Leviathan tells us that the creature is a female dragon who lives in the depths of the ocean, sometimes referred to as a watery abyss. This beast will be served up at the end of time and feasted on by the righteous. Other versions of Leviathan claim that the beast is a male. Like Christianity, this version tells us that there was once a male and a female Leviathan, but the female was killed to prevent the two from creating offspring and devouring the earth. It is thought that the flesh of the female Leviathan was given in part to the Hebrews as food in the wilderness. The Jewish texts also give us insight into the biology of the beast. Apparently, the creature eats one whale every day to sustain itself. In fact, the whale that swallowed Jonah narrowly escaped being swallowed by the Leviathan. The most interesting piece of information, however, concerns the fears of the mighty beast. Though many texts claim that the Leviathan couldn't be killed by anyone but Yahweh, Jewish texts tell us that the one fear of the mighty creature was the kilbit. The kilbit was a type of worm which was able to kill large fish by clinging to their gills. This suggests that Leviathan was vulnerable to attacks, though undoubtedly if the beast were to be killed in this manner it would be by the will of Yahweh. Lastly, a scholar by the name of Abraham Isaac Kook describes the Leviathan as a singular creature, its tail placed in its mouth, twisting around and encompassing the world. It is thought that this is a representation of the system of the worlds. The circular nature of Leviathan indicates the balance that can be found in Yahweh's creation. Leviathan in the Satanic Bible. In these texts it suggests that Leviathan is associated with the water element, being the ruler of the seas and western directions. The mighty beast is thought to be one of the 4 crown princes of hell, as well, a powerful and respected position. Interestingly enough, the Leviathan is also commonly associated with the Baphomet, a deity supposedly worshipped by the Knights Templar. It is shown in the Satanic Bible that each of the points on the sigil of Baphomet was a representation of Leviathan. The Hellmouth. Over time, Leviathan eventually became associated with a creature known as the Hellmouth. It is thought that the Hellmouth was the mouth of the fearsome beast that was supposed to rise up during the end of times. It is thought that the damned and the non-believers will disappear into the Hellmouth during the final judgment. Those who believe Leviathan is associated with this creature claim that after the damned have disappeared in its mouth, Yahweh will descend upon the earth to have a final battle with the Leviathan. After this battle, its flesh will be served to the righteous. Seems to be repeating himself quite a bit here. Origin of the myth. There are many explanations for the myth of Leviathan. The creature is known by many names in many cultures and has inspired much fear because of its great power and so forth. Okay. So that's an interesting explanation of what the Leviathan might be, is supposedly, and so forth, from biblical scripture and other cultures and their beliefs. So here is Professor Rabbi Stephen on this website here. Professor Rabbi Stephen A, Jewish Theological Seminary. Professor Rabbi Stephen A. is the Irma Cameron Milstein Professor of Hebrew Bible at the Jewish Theological Seminary. He received his Ph.D. from Harvard and his ordination from JTS. Geller is the author of Sacred Enigmas, Literary Religion in the Hebrew Bible. He is currently working on a commentary on the book of Psalms. There's his book. And we are now going to look at Genesis 1:4, 1-4, where we came across a statement here, a scriptural verse here, early in the Brita, Bereshit, or Aramaic Brita, or Genesis in English, in regards to dinosaurs. Most people believe that dinosaurs walked the earth, that they were gigantic, that they could fly like pterodactyls, etc. See if we can find it. The exact verse. Here we go. Brita chapter 1 verse 20, or Genesis 1 verse 20 in English. This is from the original ancient, very old Aramaic, the Shana Artika of the Tav Asherit. And God said, let the waters, or the seas, teem with living and breathing crawlers, and let the flying creatures fly over the earth in the layers of the sky of heaven. So there was birds, etc. that could fly, and related creatures that flew in the layers of the sky of heaven. And then God created the great dinosaurs, and there's a foot mark here, foot mark indication, and every living soul that crawled in the waters and produced their own kind, and every flying creature with wings according to its own kind, etc., etc. So looking at the footnote for 121, Titans. Okay. So we could look up the word Titans. Supposedly it's giants, so it'd be like giant creatures, right? But the point is, it says here, God said, let the waters teem with living and breathing crawlers. Yeah, and then he mentions the birds to fly in heaven, right? And then God created the great dinosaurs, or the Titans, and every living soul that crawled in the waters and produced their own kind, and every flying creature with wings, etc., etc. Okay? And told them to multiply and increase and fill the waters of the sea, and let the earth teem with birds. Yeah, so there's two types of creatures there. There's the water-dwelling beasties, okay, of the sea, and then there's the earth with its big, or its birds. So this word dinosaur was coined by a man in the 1800s, something like Dinosauria. Okay. And he had his beliefs surrounding that. Yeah, so here it's talking about creatures in the sea, not creatures on the land, like we assume that the dinosaurs walked the earth. Okay, but at some point they were all wiped out. Perhaps it was in the flood. Okay. Perhaps they were amphibious. They could go from water to land, but had to go back into the water, possibly. Or they were just giant beasties that lived in the watery depths, or the abyss. Okay. The very, very deep abyss of the seas, like the Leviathan, etc. Yeah, I think you have Darwin's theory of evolution, where creatures came out of the sea and then started to walk upon the land, these giant creatures, and then they evolved. They became land-dwelling animals, whereas some had to go back into the water after a certain period, right? Okay, so we're still pondering about these dinosaurs, how the bones were found at different layers in the earth. Earth seems to have been created on top of it, layer after layer after layer, or their bones eventually sunk because of that layer, and then were discovered. So it's still trying to get our heads around what happened to the dinosaurs. How did they all get wiped out? All these massive sea creatures. Maybe the Loch Ness monster of myth, and being said to have been seen, and etc., are actually these Leviathans. And they live so far down in like watery pits or abyss that at that depth where humans and their technology can't go. I'm not too sure on that one, but that's basically what we found. Compared to your modern day Bibles, where they say it mentions dinosaurs in this book, this chapter of the Old Testament, etc., etc., perhaps somewhere in the New Testament from one of the disciples or apostles or something like that, we looked at it and we found, well, we aren't too sure if these people are actually talking about, because supposedly there's a scripture where in Daniel's era dinosaurs were seen walking around. The dinosaurs that we've come to know from the discovery of the bones, Jurassic Park dinosaurs, right? That's what we recall coming across years ago, but we're not too sure if that's actually fact. We'd have to look for that particular verse to see if it was in scripture, because there's a lot of reference to dinosaurs in the Bible, detailed by Christianity, etc., which doesn't seem to appear to be the dinosaurs that we've come to know, right? Because of the remains, the bones, etc. Ponder this one and get back to us with your comments on it. If you have an opinion, if you have any ideas, add your comments in the comment section and we'll look at those and get back to you on them. And do the usual, subscribe to our channel if you already haven't, give us a like, and then go share this video with your family, friends, neighbours and others.